Zuby Zabrickus. These pretzels are making me super thirsty.
Gavin from TerraTech Industries.
Hey, this is Matt the Crypt, and you should be watching Y50.
I'm Dustin, king of the airwaves. Hello, la la la.
Hello!
La 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 la.
Podcast number 8 here at Behind the Bunker, beautiful Wellington Street Studios. Thank you guys for joining us. This is our podcast. Thank you for subscribing to us on iTunes or Podomatic if you're watching us or listening to us on an Android device. My name is Todd Insich. I'm your host this evening, and with me, as always, Josh Zuby Zabrickus.
Word G.
Not Gavin Charmer. Gavin Charmer is off tonight, but we have Joe Kimson.
Greetings, how are you?
Flagger's
He almost
Paintball.
called you Gavin.
He did. I'm a similar color.
I was looking at the back of this monitor. And then I'm Matt the Crypt pushing buttons.
Yeah, I don't know what that meant, but...
And I was referring to the color of the monitor. And Seb.
Hello, buongiorno, senor.
Now, Dusty's off tonight. He normally asks all the questions. You guys have sent in tons of your questions this week, and we were going to get to them over the course of the show. We are also watching our live chat, which unfortunately this week we blew up just before the show. It kind of comes and goes periodically, so if you get a chance to log in, do so before it crashes again. Also, we are watching our Twitter feed at BehindTheBunker.com, or at Behind the Bunker on Twitter. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Let's start off the show right away. Just a quick reminder before we get into the questions. Next week we're going to be talking about, do military tactics actually count in paintball? Is it a benefit? I'm not sure what I think about that. I'm going to wait to see what everyone says on Facebook before I make up my choice. So, Matt, what do you have in the question department for this evening?
Well, the first question, and I think the most pressing, is Matt R. wrote in, can I have a shout-out? Thanks, love the show.
Who said that?
Matt R.
No.
Hey, Matt R.
Yeah.
All right, so here's a question from Julian Lindsay. Where is the most painful place you have been shot in paintball?
In the inner thigh.
In the no place.
Inner thigh, middle of my back.
My shoulder.
Adam's apple.
Side of my neck, point blank.
Yeah, that one's bad.
Friendly fire.
Yeah.
I got shot in the armpit by Seb on Splatmaster night.
I can speak for someone who I know who was cleaning a gun and shot herself in the thigh at close range. That's got to be painful. But yeah, for me, it's been the inner thigh, just that fatty part there, or as Zuby calls it, my juicy part. He enjoys that spot on me.
Ew.
Okay, so moving on. Steven Slater says, should snipers be allowed faster FPS?
No.
No. Never.
Why?
Your mask is designed to stop a paintball traveling a certain and very specific speed. Do not exceed that. Just because you think you're a quote-unquote sniper doesn't mean you should be able to have different rules than everybody else.
Correct.
Makes sense to me as well as not have first strike rounds.
Amen, brother.
We should
testify.
We'll have to do a program
program
on if first strike rounds are actually something that people like out there, or just a select few. That's a good question. Off the break says, shot in the neck from pretty close range was really bad. Eric Engler got shot in the end of his business. I believe that's pronounced business.
Midnight.
Didn't it? On the rough.
Very good. Just reading through the chat forum. It keeps stalling on us, but we'll pay attention the best we can tonight. Everyone should be at the same feet per second, regardless. Is off the break in the chat as well. I will agree with you. I think sniper or no, I think you can't raise that, and you can't stop a guy from shooting close range if it's a sniper. If you tell him he has to shoot far away and races, I just don't think it's worth it. Use a flatline or an apex barrel.
Now, okay, this is how much I like first strike rounds. I actually looked into getting some testing equipment to test the... What?
Joe's
pointing at your
breathing
nose
quite
for?
heavily into the
I was
microphone.
pointing
Oh.
at my nose for Joe.
okay.
Joe was thinking of my juicy spot.
Are we mouth breathing
It means sick in sign language. By the
I thought
way.
that was knuckle breathing.
Yeah, the knuckle breathing. Yeah. Gavin's not even here. People are knuckle breathing. To look at the test equipment required to see exactly what the impact is of a first strike round, but it turns out it's rather expensive.
I bet it would be.
Because I would seriously like to know, or I'd seriously like to see
How many joules
ASTM?
of how many
Yeah.
first strike round hits with
how many
versus
kilojoules of impact.
I think
is there?
35.5 Newton is the
Hey,
I've
Rating?
eaten 24
Imperial.
fig Newtons at one
Stick with
time,
it.
and that was
New-
not good.
Newton
Apple
forces.
Newtons are good.
we're not
Could we-
America. We
could-
don't do things in feet and inches.
Could we not use a slow motion camera and it wouldn't capture the information, but you'd have a visual on what a first strike would do to a regular paintball if you were hitting the same target?
You need a G-force meter.
I'm sure they're
They're-
not.
Yeah,
that
they're
expensive.
cheap. They're
Why don't
cheap.
you put that in the budget for the show to buy a high speed camera?
Hey, I can't afford new crayons. I just bought a crayon sharpener to see if we can get these things to last a little bit longer. Barney,
Why do all these all say Preston High School?
Barney in the chat says he got shot in the ear before he had his full mask.
Barney also got shot in the trigger and almost shot Blue.
Oh, goodness. All right, let's move on here. Getting shot in the kidneys sucks too, says Worm SA in the chat. All right, Matt, do we have any more questions?
I have one here. It's kind of nonsensical. Why do people go to Spire versus the Rhoda and vice versa? That's from Tony. Yeah.
I don't even understand the question.
Why do people use a Spire versus a rotor and vice versa?
Personal preference?
Personal preference. Perhaps that's who they're sponsored by. Maybe
Possibly.
that was
One
on
look-
sale that week.
Maybe
know what?
one looked better on the one marker than the other. I
Maybe
don't
they
know.
went into the store and they're all sold out of Z2, so they had to take second and third best.
A lot of that too has to do with
Bazinga.
with where they are regionally, because certain areas are bigger on certain certain products depending on where they're where they're located, to this distributorship and how their salespeople are. I know in our area Z2s are very predominant. They're easy to get. The price is good, and the parts, if you need them, they're good. Spires for us are harder to get. So more people in our area are shooting Z2s, rotors to another degree. It just, I guess, what you have, what's there. A lot of it comes down to advertisements too. What do you see? If you see a lot of the speedball guys that are sponsored at your field and they're using X amount, X rotor, you're going to probably more lean towards those if that's the way you want to go. Or, you see
There's
a lot
no
of them.
right or wrong, really.
No. I think they're all decent loaders. It all comes down to personal preference at that point.
Moving on.
Ed Pepin just twittered in and says, asked the question, where are all the knuckle breathers?
Not here.
Not
At
here.
the cage.
Last week, Gavin inadvertently called sideline coaching speedball players knuckle breathers, and that unfortunately now has stuck.
Instead of knuckle dragging mouth breathers, he
Mhm.
abbreviated it.
That's right. All right, let's keep this show going
Taking
here.
out Gavin's usual colorful language. We'll go along with that.
So Eric Osman, if I invented something for paintball, what would be the best way to reach out to companies to market my idea?
Behind the bunker.
Yeah.
Did Eric Osman invent the strike loader? Because I hope.
I invented a tank.
Yeah. If you invented the strike loader, you may not want to advertise on Behind the Bunker. No, you know what? If you have a product, the best thing to do is to take it out to your local
okay?
fields and do field tests, because if it's something that people want, that's where you're going to sell them right away. Sight unseen, that will then generate interest in the store owners, which will then generate interest into larger companies that may pick up your product.
And maybe talk to somebody like Gavin that
A
started
true
this company.
innovator.
Yeah, exactly. Like he built his whole enterprise from the ground up. Like he's another good guy to
Is that a
talk to.
pun?
Enterprise?
No. He built it from the ground up, his sand-based paintballs.
Oh no, actually, but
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if it depends on the product, I guess. But if I had a paintball widget, it'd probably go right there. I'd probably take it right to the paintball field. and then talk to the local shop owners and do a trial basis. If it's something that's good, then start a bidding war with some of the major manufacturers. But it's got to be pretty innovative if you're going to go that high, I think.
There are low talkers and heavy typers in tonight.
I'm trying to have a conversation. You guys want me to be involved? I'm being involved, not getting chastised because I'm doing things wrong. Make up your mind what you want.
Well, here's a question. Rick W. writes in, what is the coolest homemade accessory you have seen?
Coolest homemade accessory?
A silencer.
A pizza cutter with a
Some
laser
stocks.
sight.
I've seen some pretty neat and creative barrel bags.
I've seen some stitchery that's been good. People have been sewing, 12-gram holders for their vests and for their sleeves and stuff.
My favorite one so far is Seb's DM17 with the OLED board on it.
I love it too.
And it's hard to tell it's Scotch tape.
It looked a lot like his gun from Splatmaster Night with his phone taped to it, but
It was awesome.
he said it was a DM, so
I made it a sniper 12-gauge pump gun.
Here's the question. Do you think that more homemade innovative products were more prevalent back in the day? Or do you think that it's just as predominant now? I think it was more predominant back in the day when you had less choice of paintball products. I think if anyone thought of a paintball product, it's nearly out there already.
yeah.
It's
about right.
Well, Timmy Loudtyper over here should be able to answer that question.
Timmy Loud Talker.
Yes. How can I help you?
Well, Todd just asked a question.
It is really hard to bring any product to the market now because of the patent system in the States really is so messed up right
Get it
now.
made in China.
Whether it's software or hardware, it's so hard to be innovative.
But are you going to see
nowadays.
more people designing stuff because they have 3D printers and they're going to be sharing stuff? You think you're going to even get more
I think people
designs
will
out
get
there?
sued for distributing these software to print
Yeah,
stuff.
that's the other thing I was talking about the other day with a friend. That we were talking about CDs and downloading music. We said, well, you have these CD, you got everybody with these 3D printers. What's it? Somebody to stop from printing something and just copying it, right? Because like downloading music is the same thing as copying it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can imagine someone owns the intellectual design to the property of the stuff that you're going to be printing out. So what?
Yeah.
How far
Somebody's
does it
getting
go, right?
royalties somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But then you also have the new, you have this other technology where you can put said widget into a scanning box, scan it, and then reproduce it. I mean, where's that going to stop?
Yeah, it's like a 3D photocopier.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of went off track there. So, Joe,
Yeah, what was the question?
Joe, I was making a comment that do you think that there was more homemade innovative products back in the day?
Yes.
Because I remember seeing
opposed
people
to
with,
now.
plain 200-round loaders putting computer motors in it to try and agitate and spin the paintballs down to the breech. I mean, I've seen people using film canisters as lids for pods. I've seen goggle modifications.
Like our original back when we first started paintball, no one had invented a squeegee, and before we figured out a shotgun rifle swab to clean out your barrel, we took a dowel and took a piece of foam and whittled a little notch so it wouldn't fall off and held it on with a piece of fishing line. Like that's as crude as you get, is a stick with a piece of foam on it to clean your barrel. But there was no a squeegee wasn't invented, and and the first original squeegees had O-rings on them, and they expanded as you pulled them out. The whole evolution of the squeegee from where it is right now to a fold in half gizmo in your pocket or some of the stuff that Exalt makes is really quite revolutionary, but it's almost back to the roots of what we used to do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, before a squeegee, the only thing I've ever used that wasn't a squeegee is a rolled up piece of paper towel. I don't know if I would have marketed rolled paper towel. I don't know. All right, Matt, let's move on.
We got a question here from Drake.
He makes headphones.
No, that's Dre. I
Oh.
said Drake, the other rapper. Should CQB require a lower velocity as opposed to the standard 280 feet per second?
They don't need to. I mean, the safety ratings are in place. I mean, it maybe be a little bit nicer if they're playing super close quarter. But isn't that part of the gig where you want your adrenaline running because you know it's going to be hit? It's going to hurt if you get hit. I don't know. What do you guys think? CQP, does it need to change?
I don't know. Most of your shots are close up. You know, a paintball, effectively, the velocity, it shoots the best at 265, 270. It shoots the best as opposed to 280. But
Yep.
Eric Engler says that he thinks lower velocity hurts more. That's probably because the ball's less likely to break on impact, and therefore you're just getting hit with a hard ball versus something that breaks.
Yep. For sure. All right. Well, we're winding down here pretty quick, Matt. Do you have a few more questions to finish off the show?
Here's one that might gobble up a lot of time. Chris Maverick Lord Jr., what events are you guys looking forward to in 2014?
Extravaganza! I'm looking for Extravaganza for sure, but that's not really a paintball game.
It's going to make a lot of games different too with some of the products that are going to be released. I think it's fantastic that the industry has actually got together and released products for our continent, in a timely fashion when we can start using them late February, beginning of March. If their stuff's on the water and it's landing by the end of March, end of April, we can start selling it May when the snow starts melting and people get outside. I think it's going to do wonders for the industry, and it's good that everyone's come together.
You mean they're actually going to fit supply and demand?
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm also looking forward to Living Legends, I think, just because there's such good restaurants in the Joliet area.
Yeah. To me, it's always Extravaganza and World Cup. Those two have always done it for me. I enjoy it. World Cup is definitely a whirlwind week, and it's very exhausting. It's like going to Vegas for a trade show, but it's I don't know. I look forward to those games. I always like the Spring Phoenix project at Flaggers because it's always good weather. It's that time where, all the weather turns from really cold to nice. You have those nice steady days, and you just sort of really appreciate being outside. Everything just all of a sudden turns green, and
you
it's
get more sunshine throughout the whole day.
Yes. Yeah.
Not like today, which is the most depressing day in
History.
kidding.
Yeah,
No
I was going to
kidding.
say that. The game I'm looking forward to is the first outdoor game of the season.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zooey, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the next Splatmaster night.
There you go.
You know what? I hate to say it. I do enjoy those. I really do.
It's ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect at the indoor. I like it.
Okay, we need to stop the show for a second. C4 Explosives in the chat says good restaurants in Joliet with a question mark. Okay, do you want a list? There are two fantastic restaurants. One's Al's Steakhouse, and the other one, Margaritas.
It's a Mexican
Or-
restaurant. I already typed it.
Or
Very
you could
good.
refer to episode 1, 2, 3, 4,
Through 146. Off the break, you may have missed it at the beginning of the program. We did talk about the Overwatch app. I think it's very cool. But do I think it's practical? No, not at all. I think the more you take away from guys looking around and being cognizant of what's around them, the less they're going to be able to be effective on the paintball field. If they're looking at their screens and stuff, I
I
don't
think
know.
it's very, very neat. But I will say this: for work, I am on my phone constantly. I go to the paintball field at the weekend because I can leave my phone in the car. I can turn it off. I can shut it off. I'm not connected to the internets. I'm not connected to the interwebs, and I like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be carrying that cell phone around. Too.
If you're looking at a screen while playing paintball, why not just play COD at home?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. C4 Explosive says Tilted Kilt is also good in Chicago. I agree. Cloud PT says $500 phone on the paintball field is not a good idea. I understand no matter what case you put on there, there's still that 50% chance that someone shoots you from the back and it gets right on your screen.
What, no ding?
Yeah, Nokia is not making iPhones, so
They got bought by Microsoft.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, they've been on the Windows platform for a while, right?
Yeah. All right, Matt, what else do you have for...
I've got a couple of crumpled up papers with no remaining questions on them.
Very good. Douglas Rose asks here, he says, will Behind the Bunker ever start a team of their own, albeit playing for CXBL or PSP? To be honest with you, we have a field or we have a team already sponsored by Behind the Bunker. They're called the Behind the Bunkerinos, but we are looking for a couple more teams to help sponsor. So if you guys are looking for sponsorship, there's really not much we can do for you other than help advertise you, which will help you get more sponsorships. And we can help you with some stickers and maybe get you some deals on jerseys and stuff. But send me an email to show@behindthebunker.com, and maybe we can help you guys out.
I think you just opened the floodgates there.
Yeah, well, I said limited time. If I ever catch a person texting and playing paintball at the same time, that will be the day I stop playing forever, says Aussie PB. You know what? I have to say I did see someone on the playing field using their phone once last season, and it didn't surprise me, and I hate to say it, but I think we're going to see more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen guys actually take like iPod shuffles out and put a headphone in one ear and play, which is, I know, not the same as bringing a phone to text, but I've seen like referees text and use their phone as a
There's
game
nothing
timer
that
and
bothers
stuff,
me more than a referee with a phone in his hand on the field. You know, that
unless
bothers me.
you're using it to
sometimes
communicate
our referees often will take group photos and pictures of the players playing paintball. Then we immediately load it up to Facebook.
That's different though. But I'm talking about like a referee who pulls it out of his pocket, texts someone, and then puts it back in his pocket and leaves it. That's just not right. All right, guys. Well, we're watching the chat forum right now. Looks like you guys are out of questions. We are out of questions here, and we're running out of steam. We've had a week where I know Joe and I won't say Zuby, but Joe and I have been under the weather and are losing steam really quickly here. So, guys, we're going to end the program now. Next week, we're going to be back with do military tactics work in paintball? If you would like to put your opinion in, you can send us in a video, or you can send in an email to show@behindthebunker.com. And maybe it'll make the air as well. Sorry, I was distracted in Zuby's eyes. So very good. So thank you, Zuby, for being on the program this evening.
No, thank you, Todd.
It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine.
Did we ask you what you wanted to do this, or what you were looking forward to this year, or did you just not answer the question?
No, I gave you my usual avoid the question and said Spotmaster Night.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
But I am looking forward to the Spring Phoenix.
Yeah.
Favorite game of the year. Hands down, no questions asked.
No, that'll be awesome.
Love it. Plus, I get to dress up in, 101st Airborne uniform, so that's always fun.
Hey, here's a question. Barney says, I've seen people use cell phones to contact the general at the base. I disagree with that. I think
Wouldn't
that's
a radio be easier?
I would say. A radio is a lot better than having a cell phone.
But you know what the issue with radios on the paintball field is? You get people who put the microphone in their throat and then expect you to understand what they're saying.
I guess texting would be a little more
efficient.
Yeah, efficient at relaying your message as opposed to repeating yourself on the walkie-talkie several times.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, and Joe, thank you for being here from Plaguearders Paintball.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Once again, I'm Behind the Bunker, a weekly paintball show, Monday nights at 8.
Very good. Now, I understand you found more things in your vault this week.
I did. I found lots of things, actually. I had to clean my garage and make room for a little military Jeep that I have to get it out of the snow. So I moved a lot of things around, and I uncovered lots of things that I knew I had, but I hadn't seen for 10, 15, 20 years and stuff. So a lot of them will make an appearance on the vault. So there'll be more remote vault locations from my garage.
Very good. Very good. Matt, thank you for being in the program.
Extravaganza. I can't get my voice that high.
That's awesome.
And Seb, thank you for being on the show.
We miss you.
Very good.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right, thanks guys for watching. We have lots
plural word on it.
We have lots more paintball excitement coming up for episode number 147 next week. Thank you guys for joining us. Sorry we're cutting it close, or cutting it. You can see why we're cutting it. We're just not feeling very well tonight, guys. And sorry about it. Chat roll is down, so sorry for all of you that logged in tonight and got kicked out. The server crashed, and not much we can do when you guys are all trying to log in. That's great. Thank you for being on the show. We will see you guys back next week.
Auf Wiedersehen.